Stephen McBee Jr. and Jesse McBee are feeling quite at home within the Bravoverse. The Missouri brothers made their official network debut on June 30, when Season 2 of the McBee Dynasty, Real American Cowboys premiered on Bravo. The reality series, which originally aired on Peacock, is primarily set at McBee Farm and Cattle, a family-owned farming operation founded by Stephen Jr. and Jesse's dad, Stephen McBee Sr. Which Bravolebs have reached out to the McBee family? The move to Bravo has, of course, introduced the family to a much wider audience and effectively broadened their fan base, and that apparently includes some longtime Bravolebs. It has been like joining a giant family, Stephen Jr. told The Daily Dish when asked about his Bravo experience. It's really, really neat. Everyone from different shows, Tamra Judge, Brittany Cartwright, Kristen Doubt, her fiancé, Luke Broderick, they've all reached out. They all want to come to the farm, which I think is really, really neat. So we've got plans in the works for them to come out, visit the farm, hang out with us. It's been really fun getting to join such a big family like Bravo. The brothers made similar comments in a July chat with Us Weekly, confirming they invited 6 Bravolebs to their farm and were trying to lock down a visit from Southern Charm's Craig Conover. "We're going to be riding horses," Stephen Jr. said. "We're going to show them how we cook out at the farm. I'm sure we're going to put them in a tractor." Stephen Jr. McBee and Jesse McBee reflect on the support from Bravo fans. But the Bravo love didn't stop there. The McBee brothers said they were also thrilled with how the viewers have received the McBee Dynasty Season 2. "Yeah, it's interesting to see. I'm trying to think of the best word. The dedication of the fans," Jesse said. They fully involve themselves. They fully want to know what's happening in our lives. Although they appreciated the support from fans, the brothers admitted they were a bit puzzled by all the interest their family had garnered. "They are invested, which is really cool," Stephen Jr. said, referring to the viewers. "For us, it feels like, I don't think our lives are that interesting. I feel like they're a little boring, but everyone is just. They care so much and they're so supportive. It's been really neat." Jesse agreed. "It's great," he added. "I can't believe that they're that interested in our lives, and it's cool to see they actually care." The McBee Dynasty Season 2 has had no shortage of drama. We're talking everything from precarious business deals and marital affairs to FBI probes and health scares. Learn more about the McBee family and how their dynamics changed from Season 1 to Season 2. The late afternoon sun dipped low over the rolling Missouri hills, casting long shadows across the fields of McBee Farm and Cattle. A gentle breeze, thick with the scent of hay and honest labor, rustled through the tall grass. Stephen McBee Jr. leaned against the weathered fence post, a half-empty bottle of water in his hand, and watched a few of his prize Herefords graze lazily in the distance. He felt a deep sense of peace here, a feeling of being exactly where he was supposed to be. It was, as he'd said to Jesse 1,000 times, a little boring. "You still think they're actually comin'?" Jess's voice broke the silence as he walked up, a smudge of grease on his cheek from working on one of the combines. Stephen Jr. chuckled, taking a swig from his bottle. "Tamra Judge don't strike me as the type to make a promise she can't keep. Besides, I think the Bravo machine is a little more organized than us." Jesse scoffed good-naturedly. "Organized? They want to drive a tractor. The last time a city slicker drove one of our tractors, he nearly took out the west fence line. They don't know the difference between a clutch and a brake pedal." "Well, we'll teach 'em," Stephen Jr. said, a mischievous glint in his eye. "It'll be good. It's like joining a whole new family, you know. It's been wild, seeing all these different folks on the TV, from all over the country, and they all just want to come out here and see what we do. Still don't get it, though. What's so interesting about us?" Jesse just shook his head, looking out at the farm he'd always known. To him, this was just life. The cows, the dirt, the long days and early mornings. The drama of a bad business deal or a family squabble was just a part of it, like a fence post that needed mending. It wasn't something you put on TV for millions of people to obsess over. A week later, the hum of a Cessna private jet broke the rustic quiet. The brothers watched from the porch as two sleek black SUVs pulled up the long gravel driveway, kicking up a plume of dust that temporarily obscured their view. The doors opened, and a flash of bright color and designer luggage spilled out. First came Tamara Judge, looking like she'd just stepped off a Newport Beach yacht, her platinum blonde hair a perfect contrast to the rustic backdrop. She was a force of nature, all sharp wit and energetic gestures. Next was Kristen Doubt, her fiancé Luke Broderick by her side, looking more at home in a plaid shirt than Stephen Jr. would have expected. And finally, there was Brittany Cartwright, with her trademark friendly smile, a true Southern girl who seemed to have a natural warmth about her that put the brothers at ease. Stephen Jr. and Jesse walked down the porch steps to greet them, their hands a little stiff from the handshake. "Stephen, Jesse, it is so nice to finally be here," Tamara exclaimed, her voice carrying a decibel or two higher than anyone on the farm was used to. "This is incredible. Look at this place." "Yeah, this is pretty cool," Brittany added, her eyes wide as she took in the sprawling landscape. "I feel like I'm in a movie." "Well, welcome to the McBee farm and cattle," Stephen Jr. said with a grin, gesturing grandly with his hand. "Make yourselves at home." The first day was a whirlwind of tours and introductions. The Bravolebs were surprisingly curious, asking about everything from the cattle feed to the brand on the horses. They were quick to put their phones away, trading social media updates for the simple pleasure of watching the sun set over the fields. "So this is a working farm, huh?" Kristen asked that evening as they sat around a fire pit, roasting hot dogs on sticks. "That's right," Jesse said, leaning forward. "We've been in this business for generations. My dad, Stephen Sr., he built this whole thing up. We're still trying to make him proud, you know." "That's what's so cool about your family," Luke said, nudging Kristen playfully. "You guys are real. We watch these shows where it's all drama and yelling, but with you guys, it's just life, hard work, and family. People love that." Stephen Jr. looked at Jesse, a silent, unspoken conversation passing between them. See, they get it. He still didn't, not entirely, but he was starting to. The next morning, it was time for the first official farm activity, horse riding. Stephen Jr. had set aside a couple of the gentler geldings, and they dressed the group in old jeans and boots. Craig Conover, who had managed to join them, was a natural. He was surprisingly comfortable in the saddle, and Stephen Jr. was impressed as he watched him guide his horse with a quiet confidence. "I grew up riding a little bit," Craig admitted, with a shrug. "Nothing like this, though. This is the real deal." Brittany was a little more hesitant but warmed up quickly, finding a rhythm with her horse. The real comedy, however, came from Tamara. She was a ball of nervous energy, bouncing in the saddle and clinging to the horn like it was a life raft. "This horse has a mind of its own," she shrieked as her mount chose to trot instead of walk. Stephen Jr. rode up next to her, a patient smile on his face. "Just relax, Tamara. Let him know who's boss. He's just testing you." "I'm gonna fall off. I'm gonna sue you," she yelled, but there was a laugh in her voice, and even she knew it was a joke. By the end of the day, she wasn't a pro, but she was smiling, her anxieties replaced by a sense of accomplishment. The next day was the tractor driving lesson. Jesse, with a heavy dose of skepticism, decided to teach them on one of the older, smaller tractors, just in case. They went to an open field, and Jesse went through the basics: the throttle, the clutch, the gears. "All right, so who's first?" Jesse asked, looking at the group. Tamara, surprisingly, volunteered. She climbed into the seat, her expression a mix of terror and determination. She was jerky at first, stalling the engine and lurching forward, but with Jesse's patient instruction, she began to get the hang of it. Then it was Kristen's turn. She drove with a quiet focus, navigating the tractor in a neat, straight line. Brittany, however, found the gears a bit tricky. She ground them audibly, and the tractor bucked forward. "Oops, I think I broke it," she laughed, and Jessie had to jump in to help her find the right gear. But when Luke got in, he had a natural touch and was plowing a row with a practiced ease that made Jessie actually nod in approval. "You've done this before," Jessie stated. "Not like this," Luke responded. "But my family has a few acres we garden on. I know the basics." The McBee brothers were seeing a different side of these people. They weren't just the characters on TV with their drama and their fancy parties. They were real people with real lives who appreciated the simple things, even if they had to be taught how to do them.